mom committed suicide, it happens, and just the whole stigma that is associated with suicide, it meant that it was not talked about. She wasn't really mentioned.
For many, suicide is a topic that is swept under the rug. But today we're delving into the issue, finding out the facts, hearing personal stories of pain and triumph, and sharing the reasons that you should choose life. Jamaica over the years has had a relatively low suicide rate, but this should not be taken for granted, as there are those who can't see a way out of their difficulties, opting to choose a most permanent solution to what is always a temporary problem. Local statistics show that up to August 2013, 39 persons had taken their own lives. However, the global figures are staggering.
What we are seeing around the world is an increase in the number of suicides. In the year 2000, 815,000 people killed themselves around the world. By the time we got to the year 2010, approximately 1 million people took their lives. And the projection from the World Health Organization is that by the time we get to 2020, 1.53 million people will die by suicide every year.
Dismal figures indeed, especially when you consider that suicide affects persons at all ages and from all socioeconomic backgrounds. Causative factors include guilt, frustration, broken love affairs, and economic distress. Health professionals encourage families to get familiar with the warning signs. Persons who've made previous suicide attempts are at a greater risk of trying to take their own lives. Other signs include mental illness, changes in eating and sleeping habits, and unusual neglect of personal appearance. In many cases, the person struggling with suicidal thoughts has shared their thoughts with at least one other person. Such was the case with Stacy-Ann Kimble's mother, who took her life when Stacy was only 9 years old.
I took it real hard. I didn't even cry for her. I wasn't able to cry for her until 2009. I didn't grieve. It happened, and I know the day I could not eat. I'm the one who found her and had to explain to my sisters that, well, you know, mommy's dead. And yeah, that day was terrible, but I was definitely upset with God. Because I was like, well, God not like me, else would have let my mom die like that, so me not like him back.
The stigma associated with suicide made coping difficult for young Stacy and her siblings.
We did not get any counseling. For me personally, I just knew life as I knew it had changed. I knew it has changed. I didn't know how much, but I knew it was changed. How did I cope? I read a lot. Because I know we didn't manage it. It is still not managed in my family. It's still something people still want to say, probably let sleeping dogs lie, or it's still something that most people cannot talk about today.
In the case of Franchesca Tavares, it was an issue she struggled with for years, despite being only 17 years old.
It's weird, you know, someone that's 7 or 8 would think about suicide. You know, think about what would it be like if I wasn't here. And I remember if I felt I was punished unjustly, the first thing that would come in my head is I'm going to kill myself and see what they're going to do, you know, because I would think that would be a way of punishing my parents.
3 years ago, she made an attempt to take her life. Franchesca says the fact that she's alive is a miracle.
I felt I had no purpose. I didn't like myself. I'd look in the mirror and I'd tell myself how ugly I was.
Fortunately for both Stacy-Ann and Franchesca, they got help through the aid of Choose Life International, a suicide prevention and grief counseling organization started by Dr. Donovan Thomas and his wife Faith in 2008.
What we want to do is to help them to find hope, because suicidal persons are usually very hopeless.
The government of Jamaica, through the Ministry of Health, also has in place a number of avenues through which persons are able to get the help they need, with crisis centers in each region.
If persons begin to have repeated thoughts of suicides or should be planning to suicides, we would like to encourage such persons to speak to their health care provider. This could be a general practitioner, primary health care provider, doesn't have to be a mental health provider, but certainly a mental health provider would also be useful. These persons can be accessed at the health care facilities, primary health care centers, all across Jamaica. We do also have emergency psychiatric services that respond to crisis calls.
Today, Stacy-Ann is in a much better place as the memory of her mother's suicide no longer causes pain. She's using it as a tool to inspire and strengthen others. So too is Franchesca, who has been excelling, becoming a testament that every problem can be overcome.
When my breakthrough happened, for me it was like the only thing I could see in life was possibilities.
It's a good thing I didn't commit suicide, because right after that, a couple months later, I got 8 1s and a 2 in CSEC, and then I got Cape 1 grades, 3 distinctions and a credit, and then Cape 2 recently I got 2 distinctions, 2 credits, and now I got accepted to go to UWI law school, so that's good.